A weather balloon or a red Chinese weapon of mass destruction. Hello, this is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Today we are going to briefly discuss some of the implications of the so-called spy balloon that was just hit with a missile by a U.S. fighter offshore of South Carolina near Surfside Beach after hovering over sensitive areas of the United States for nearly a week. Like most of you out there, we too are scratching our heads at this one. There are many questions that need to be answered about how something like this could ever possibly happen in the United States of America. There are credible news reports out there saying the spy balloon entered U.S. airspace after floating over the Aleutians. Don't we have fighter aircraft in Alaska that could have shot down the balloon over the water before it was allowed to float across the United States? This, of course, before it entered United States airspace over crossing the Canadian border. For national security reasons, I will talk about in a minute, the entire situation is totally unacceptable. The simple fact of the matter is that a spy balloon should have been detected before it entered either Canadian or U.S. airspace and shot down before it cut a swath across the entire breadth of the United States. We had plenty of time to take the balloon down over the Aleutians, and we didn't do it. Why? How can this be? You mean to tell me that NORAD, the U.S. Air Force in Alaska, and the Canadian authorities did not see a balloon the size of 5 buses floating in the air, coming in their direction in time to stop it? If this is true, only one of two things are possible. The Canadians and Americans are either totally inept or callously negligent. I'm beginning to believe it's the former. Let me tell you why. That so-called Chinese weather or spy balloon, or whatever you want to call it, could well have been a radioactive or biological dispersal device designed to silently kill American citizens, with the Chinese hiding behind fabricated confusion to serve as plausible denial. There are already way too many unanswered questions about the origins of COVID-19 and the possible connection with the Red Army's biological weapons program. If you haven't watched our series on the origins of COVID-19, you might, for your own protection, want to take a quick watch-see. Just suppose for 1 minute the People's Republic of China has genetically engineered another new type of incurable pathogen, say this time a virulent form of incurable measles, and use that weather balloon to disperse it across the U.S. mainland. What if, in a couple of weeks or so, long after the weather balloon floated away, people start getting sick and dying again across the country, just like they did during the COVID-19 pandemic? What then? Another vaccine? How long do you think the U.S. could last against these types of repeated attacks? Not long, and the PRC knows it. This is why the early detection and neutralization of potential dispersal devices before they can hurt you is so vitally important to our national defense. As an expert in these areas, I can tell you that what we have all witnessed over the past few days is very, very dangerous and an indication that our military leaders are asleep at the national security steering wheel. Accountability for this national security failure should be swift and designed to remind our military leaders that they have a job to do and they're not doing it very well. These types of actions by the Communist Chinese are a harbinger of things to come, and we must reassess our foreign policy as it relates both to China and the Russians. The Chinese are aggressively probing America's defenses in preparation for things to come. The PRC is watching the U.S. expend and reduce our stockpiles of weaponry as we support the fighting in Ukraine. Our levels are being depleted to dangerous levels. The way the Chinese are thinking and acting these days, it sure looks like they are probing our defenses in preparation for war and simply waiting for the right time. What we need right now are competent military leaders and a new military mobilization effort. Just remember Korea. The Chinese are ruthless, and there are a lot of them. It is what it is for February 5th, 2023. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you.